I bought a company, I sold a company, and I also trained for a half Ironman all at the same time because I have clearly some issues. 2022 was very busy, but we bought Beachside and it had like 13 properties. We're close to 30 now. And a lot of the changes and improvements we've made have been on the technology side, just how we use the technology, the different tools.
Welcome to the Vacation Rental Show. This is your essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business with advice and insights from the best in the biz. I'm your host, Lynell Gordon. Welcome to the Vacation Rental Show. I'm Lynell Gordon, your host, and I have Jay Sudowski with us today. And Jay is with Beachside Hilton Head Island Vacation Rentals. It's a company out of Hilton Head that's been there for a long time. He comes from a background of tech, guys, so he brings a lot of really cool stuff to vacation rentals. And he and his wife co-own this company and run it. And welcome to the show, Jay. I'm really happy to have you.
Thank you, Lynell.
So tell me this. You bought a company and you doubled it since you bought it. But tell me about your background in tech and buying the company. Did that help you as far as understanding the technology?
Yeah, no, it definitely, the tech background I have was very helpful. It's kind of an interesting story. I bought a company, I sold a company, and I also trained for a half Ironman all at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Because I have clearly some issues.
Just a little bit of big A personality there.
Yeah, so 2022 was very busy, but we bought Beachside and it had like 13 properties. We're close to 30 now. And a lot of the changes and improvements we've made have been on the technology side. So just how we use the technology, the different tools.
How did you go from tech to vacation rentals? It's a big difference.
It is, but it isn't.
Tell me how it isn't.
So, I mean, we did like manage IT services previously. I mean, we had lots of clients, demanding clients, right? And, you know, we were data center based services. So they had expectations for like 24/7 uptime, lots of redundancy, critical applications. Like we did payment processing for Denver's transportation system and various school districts and things like that, right? So like the stuff that we did had to work well. And when it didn't, it was a problem. So people always joke, they're like, oh boy, it must be horrible being in short-term rentals. I'm like, no, it's actually so much easier compared to the technology stuff because short-term rentals, yeah, things go wrong. There's problems, but usually it's isolated to like a single house, handful of guests, and not like hundreds of thousands of people are impacted. So, I mean, it was an easy transition, I think, just from the stress level perspective. It's way less stressful overall. And then just having the familiarity with the technology has been very helpful because we've been able to implement a lot of tools and a lot of systems, which obviously all integrate with Streamline.
Yeah. So with property management, what has been the impetus for you to grow? Were you intentionally trying to grow, or is that on your plan? You want to scale your business and grow it?
Not really. So we've grown by accident, largely through word of mouth with our owners.
You're too good at what you did and everybody wants to come hang out.
You know, owner relationships are obviously very important. And when you're small, it's nice because we know all of our owners individually, personally. And so we get a lot of referrals like that. You know, we work with a couple of real estate agents who have brought us some solid homeowners. And so growth has happened really kind of slowly and casually. And people were like, oh, you could grow to 100 properties. I'm like, I don't know if we want to do that. You know, I think there's probably certain breakpoints at a certain number of properties or just in terms of staff and management and things that you need. So we kind of have decided to like grow and then make sure we can actually do what we need to do with the tools and the people that we have. And so that quality doesn't get impacted.
How many people do you have to manage in order to do 30 properties, more or less?
I mean, as few as possible.
That's why I'm asking. I'm wondering how many full-time employees do you have to have with Streamline that you're working with?
My wife and I are full-time-ish. Obviously, Hilton Head peak season is really spring break to Labor Day.
Right.
So we try to take a lot of time off in the off season. We have a full-time maintenance man. We've got part-time inspectors. We have outsourced cleaners. We have some remote admin support that's part-time.
You have you, your wife, and full-time maintenance. You'd have to have that and that's it?
That's
for
it.
full-time employees? Oh my gosh, I love the overhead. I'm just looking.
Yeah.
No, that's no wonder you're like, no, I don't know that I want to grow. But you've been able to double and maintain that same staff. How far do you think you can go without having to hire additional people?
We'll see. I mean, we're in the process of looking at some additional admin support just for some of the back office type stuff, not super guest facing. I think we could probably add another 8 to 10 houses.
What's your favorite part of vacation rentals? You've been in it for 3 years, right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite part?
Really is that most people actually want to enjoy their vacation, right? So like they're happy customers. Even when there's problems, it's pretty easy to make things go smoothly for them. So like people call us, they want to come on vacation. It's a short sales cycle. I love that, right? I went from like a lot of these IT deals I did probably had like 6-month sales cycle. Now it's like 6 minutes on a phone call sometimes, right? Or 0 interaction at all. You just get the bookings. So that as like a numbers guy, that makes me happy. But also just people are happy, right? They want to have a good time. They're usually pretty good guests, pretty happy folks.
There have to be people out there that have thought about doing property management who are listening, who are like, oh my gosh, me and my wife, we could do this. We could do this for a certain number. You bought the company and it was already established, right? So what convinced you to buy that property management company?
Well, it was kind of a weird confluence of things, right? One, I was selling my technology company. And two, so when we moved to Hilton Head at the beginning of COVID, I kept tabs on like a local business broker and would occasionally visit this guy's website, and a lot of blue collar stuff came up, like HVAC companies and electrical companies. And like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Right.
And then I find there's this property management company for sale. So I call the guy and I say, hey, Mike, what's the deal with this? And most of these companies on this site stay up there for like a long time, months, years. This was like up there maybe a couple of weeks. We've sent out 60 NDAs. We have 3 offers on the table. So it's like, if you want to do something, I need your NDA and like something right away. So I looked at all the numbers and it made sense, but it also made a lot of sense. We live in Sea Pines, which is one of the 2 major places where short-term rentals are on Hilton Head. All the properties that were in the program were in Sea Pines. It was previously run by a husband and wife team. And so like my wife and I were looking to do something together. It was a very low overhead structure. In this particular instance, they also were pretty low tech. I mean, I felt that looking at the operation that we could grow it without adding a lot of headcount.
I love that.
Through automation and technology. And so it all worked out really well. But I think prior to buying the company, I would have said I was a generally pretty handy guy. Now I'm a very handy guy, right? You know, like the great thing about low overhead is there's low overhead, but it's also, you wear a lot of hats, right? There's, absolutely like no denying the fact that depending on the day of the week and what we have going on, I could be the guy cleaning the grills or, shampooing the carpets, or I could be talking to Marriott Homes and Villas about putting our properties on their platform or bring on a new vendor. I guess it's fun for somebody like me who has ADHD. Like,
There's always do something
different to do, right?
So how dependent are you on OTAs? Is that the mainstay of your business or is it direct?
We are about 45% direct.
Love that. Yeah. That's great.
It's interesting that the percentage has come down as we've grown the program. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. One, as you bring new houses on, right, it takes a while to get them established and get some repeat guests going. So a lot of the homes in our program are really just hitting their 2nd year mark. So we'll see how that number tracks over the next couple of years.
It takes about 3 to 5 years to establish your turn. Even in that area, I know we bought a house and we had a lot of repeat renters because we had bought an established house, but we had a flood and we had to redo it and we lost a year and we had to totally go back. So I understand starting those new houses.
Losing a year is, we had one homeowner that they were contemplating doing renovation and they had a contractor picked out and they had a budget. And so like we had their house blocked for like 7 months and like we had updated the listing description and started booking it for the next summer, assuming they did this renovation. And then like the sticker shock came and the final numbers came in like 70% over budget, but it tanked their next year, even though it was an established rental, because all the repeat guests went away because suddenly went from being like a pretty modest 4-bedroom beach house to a really fancy 5-bedroom beach house at much higher rates. So all those people that we had coming back year after year,
different demographic,
left.
Yes.
Because we told them, well, the price is basically going to double or triple depending on the time of year. So they were like, see you later. And then the guests that we did have, we had to tell them that, well, the renovation got canceled. So it is frustrating when things like that happen, right?
I've been in the business a long time too. And a lot of times the 4-bedroom beach box makes more money than the 5-bedroom exclusive, especially if it's an established rental. I can say that for sure.
In Hilton Head, the 3-bedroom, single floor, pet friendly seems to be like the bread and butter. I mean, we have a 3-bedroom, granted, it has an amazing pool and backyard, a cabana, but they're going to do like 190 gross this year. It's a 3-bedroom.
Yeah.
It's 0.6 of a mile to the beach. It's like not on the beach. You know what I mean? It's
I know.
Impressive numbers.
It is. And people don't think about that when they buy investment properties. Really, guys, if you think about buying investment properties, you should talk to property managers because they'll let you know what the number of bedrooms are, peak number of bedrooms that you should have, the amenities, and the location. And that's incredibly, I mean, you think about how much that 3-bedroom cost away from the beach as opposed to the oceanfront one. I mean, the ROI is much bigger on the one than the other.
And it's silly, but being a little bit inland, maintenance on a house is way less. Being like close to the beach, the house just gets blasted by the salt air and HVAC issues. Grills last not long at all. And just everything outside is always rotting. You go inland even half a mile and it's much better climate.
Well, as long as you can have a property manager that can rent it with that kind of ROI, it's worth it. Built by property managers for property managers, Streamline is a powerful software that gives managers enterprise-level capabilities to drive more revenue and improve operational efficiency. Migrating to Streamline allows property managers to gain functionality while reducing the need for multiple vendors. Improve your flow by logging into a single system and reduce redundant technology costs. With Streamline, property managers achieve revenue lifts by leveraging our fully fledged communication center reservations, quoting system, revenue management tools, homeowner acquisition CRM, and powerful direct OTA connections. Streamline also has industry-leading trust accounting and report capabilities to give you clarity in an overall company performance. Learn more about Streamline Vacation Rental Software at streamlinevrs.com. Is there any advice that you'd give to property managers or people who are looking to start out like you did and buy something and go? What are the biggest challenges you had?
The biggest challenges, I think, are really homeowner education and obviously the relationship building in general. But the market is really evolving quickly, especially in my market. I mean, Hilton Head, I've been told, is like a legacy week-to-week market, right? Like the Saturday to Saturday. And I remember going to Hilton Head thinking, this is dumb. Why does everybody come on one day of the week and everybody leave on one day of the week? They've got to clean all these houses and like the grocery stores. So we've seen a huge shift away from that week-to-week thing.
To 3 to 6 days.
Yeah, but it's the homeowners have this just huge resistance to this kind of concept of like changing. They're like, well, like what if someone books like Friday to Tuesday? What's going to happen to my house that like on those gap nights? How are we going to fill it? How are we going to make the revenue? We're like, well, kind of trust us, right? But
talk to Tiffany Moldovan at Beach Realty in the Outer Banks. They've made that shift. It's a very difficult shift. In our North Carolina, South Carolina markets, we're used to having that Saturday to Saturday. The Outer Banks really were able to go from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but it's changing. And you're right to tell your homeowners. And the only way, and I asked her, like, this is a specific question, how do you convince your homeowners? It's stats. It's having a homeowner that is brave enough to step up and say, just do it, I trust you. And then using those stats to go back to other homeowners and saying, hey, here's what has happened. Here's the bottom line. And the other thing is looking at how much you make at the end of the year. We're so used as homeowners in those markets to looking how much am I making week per week.
The weekly rate.
But it's the end of the year because you actually get more off-season rentals that way too. Do you have poisonous snakes?
Literally?
Yes, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You have rattlesnakes and you have copperheads, mostly those two. And they had a situation where someone found a copperhead or I don't remember what snake it was in their yard during a vacation rental, and Airbnb refunded the whole stay because they had a dangerous animal encounter in their vacation. So that's the only, it's fine. We don't care.
Okay.
It won't bother us.
I've heard about the horror stories, right? With Airbnb. And, I guess what I've seen, is like guests can call and complain any amenity is missing, and supposedly I'll give a 30% refund.
Yeah. But you've already paid out to your homeowner. Think about it.
Right.
They've already, yeah.
Thankfully, we haven't run into that particular issue, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time, right? Chargebacks are another challenge. We don't get a bunch of them, but
I find that chargebacks are a lot easier now because the documentation that we are required to have is so much more robust. So we don't have quite as much problem there. Is there any other advice that you give to property managers who are starting out? You've got 3 years in. I know that's not really starting out, but there are a lot of companies that are much older. What do you think the biggest challenges are for being successful and staying in what you're doing when you first start out with vacation rental management company?
Don't be afraid to fire a homeowner.
That's great advice.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just homeowners that might have great properties, and you'll find that working with them just isn't a good fit for you. And it's just not worth the headache, regardless of how much revenue that property is generating. Sometimes you just have to let them go.
The cost of having a homeowner that takes X amount of your time and being able to fire those. I think there have been some studies on it that I've talked about this year. They're really interesting, but 100% agree with you. And that's what the statistical analysis says. Getting rid of those, not only does it make you happier, of course, you don't have to deal with them, but it also gives you more time for the other homeowners because they suck time when they're not kind.
Yeah, I mean, we had one homeowner in particular, and their expectations were we joked that they wanted a time capsule, right? So like they wanted everything exactly in the same spot it was the last time they were at the house, regardless of the fact that it may have been months since they'd come and there'd be many, many guests in between, right? But they wanted the silver platter, which wasn't even silver, on the same spot on the countertop, right? And at some point it's just can't do that. That's not a service we're providing. It's just outside what we can do. So if that's what you want, then you need to go somewhere else. And I think that's just in general, another good thing to figure out what your model is, right? And stick with that model. Be committed to it, whatever it is. Otherwise, you'll end up doing a bunch of one-off things. You might think well, this homeowner wants us to put Q-tips out, but we don't do that anywhere else. Surely we can do that, right? But now if you go down that path, you're going to have this house, we got to do Q-tips here. In this house, she wants us to rearrange all the pots and pans every departure. In this house, we're supposed to put the pool net in a super specific spot. And this, you know what I mean? It's okay to accommodate some of that stuff, but at some point you have to figure out what your model is and what your brand standard is. And as homeowners come to you with these suggestions, you have to be firm and say, that's kind of outside of what our standard is. And these are all the other things we're doing. Every time there's a departure or every time there's a check-in or whatever, and look at your reviews and all this stuff. But that's just not something we can help you with.
Well, I love that. That's good advice. That's good business advice. And you obviously came into this with a lot of business savvy, having already had a company and run it. So I think that a lot of those standards that are needed, they do move over into property management, no matter what business you're in. It is a business at the end of the day that you run, even though it's hospitality, I think that just makes it nicer. I think you just deal with nicer people and it makes it an easier situation to do. I really appreciate you being on the show and coming and telling everybody what it's like to start a new company. If people want to reach out to you, could they reach out and you talk to them about starting it?
Yeah, for sure. Email is probably the easiest way. jay@beachsidehhi.com. If you don't hear back from me, send me another email.
And you probably have a contact form on Beachside Hilton Head Island Vacations.
We have a contact form. We have a live chat, phone.
Thank you. Thank you for being available and thank you for coming.
Yeah, of course.
This episode of the Vacation Rental Show is brought to you by Streamline. To find out more about how Streamline can grow your vacation rental business, visit streamlinevrs.com. Make sure to search for the Vacation Rental Show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.